Bodyweight Sissy Squat is quite an advanced exercise, and so it's probably beneficial to consider some progressions before you go straight into it. So in this example, the easiest progression is going to be going through the full movement but using your hands as support. When you do it inside a squat rack like this, you can assist with a forwards and backwards motion so you don't have to worry about a balance. And when you're in this position here, you can use your arms to help you stand back up again. You can use your arms to take a little bit of load off on the way down. And after 1 or 2 reps, you can get your hands set up into the right place, so you don't need to move them up and down the squat rack as you go through the movement. The next version of this is one hand onto the squat rack instead, and as a result of that, you have to focus a little bit on your balance. The hand going back here basically assists with not tipping over backwards and not falling too far forwards. It's a counterweight to the knees going forwards, and so by doing that, it encourages that balance component whilst also reducing the load with this right hand on the squat rack, and it's a stepping stone towards doing it freely. The next progression is performing the movement with all of your strength. So you're not using the arms to assist with the up and down motion, but you are using it to assist with a balance component. So typically it's more common that you fall forwards when doing this exercise. And so by having your hands on the inside of the squat rack, that can just stop you from falling in that direction. And all you're doing is using the hands to guide the movement. Your legs are doing all of the work. By keeping your palms flat when you do this progression, you're training your legs and your body to be strong enough to perform the movement, and then after that you need to train your body to be balanced enough to perform the movement. And the final version of this exercise progression is to do it in the squat rack and only use the squat rack as and when you need. So try to perform as much of the movement as you can, and then if you need the squat rack, your hands can be there. If you need it at the bottom because anything hurts or it feels uncomfortable, it's there available for you. The objective of this exercise is to basically train the knee joint and the quad musculature whilst keeping the hip steady. So if you have performed a rear leg focused lunge, you will know what this is going to feel like because the pelvis is staying still and you're training the quad through a long range of motion. However, you have the full weight of your body on that position, so it can be quite challenging. You start the movement by tucking the pelvis under and just pushing the knees forward. So you see there's still a pretty much straight line between the shoulders, hips, and knees. And then from there, you're just continuing the knees to go forwards, but you're not worrying about the feet staying flat. And so from this, I'm just keeping this straight line whilst trying to continue to bend my knee joint. And as a result, I will end up in this very long quad position where I have trained through that range of motion using my body weight. I then try to use that tissue to stand up again. If you're at the phase where you're not using the squat rack for assistance, you can stand up easier by putting your hips back and then standing straight up. Most of the time, the benefit comes from the eccentric component of this movement. So typically the upwards phase is the most challenging. And so another progression level could be that you just perform the lowering phase and then use your hands to stand up. One of the main priorities is making sure that the glute musculature and the lower back musculature is activated and strong, as well as your core musculature, so that you can keep this straight line between your shoulders, your hips, and your knees.